Welcome to the School of Hidden Knowledge podcast and live stream. The information being shared with you is top of the food chain knowledge. Please use the strategies and techniques discussed in this broadcast wisely. Your host, Ronnie Sandelin, will be your wizard to guide you through your journey towards freedom, discovery, and higher knowledge. Remember to know thyself and pay no attention to the opinions of sheep.
We live today in a golden age. This is an era that man has looked forward to, dreamed of, and worked toward for thousands of years. But since it's here, we pretty well take it for granted. You know, for 20 years, I looked for the key which would determine what would happen to a human being. Was there a key I wanted to know which would make the future a promise that we could foretell to a large extent? Was there a key that would guarantee a person's becoming successful if he only knew about it and knew how to use it? Well, there is such a key, and I found it.
And we're live. The end of Handshakes and Hugs forever. I have Gerard De La Porta. For some of you guys, the infamous Gerard. If you don't know him, follow him. Interesting life, interesting person. He's in Bangkok. And Gerard and I have been talking a lot about what's going on with the coronavirus and, you know, what we can do and just spreading information to each other, sharing good information to each other. And I think Gerard has one of the most impactful things that I've ever heard on why some countries are getting hit really hard and some countries are seem to have very, very low mortality rates and seem to be doing just fine. So Gerard, thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for taking your time. What time is it over there in Bangkok right now?
Right now it's 1:32 a.m. So I'm plus 11 from Eastern Standard.
Cool. Well, partying Saturday night, partying with us. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about Thailand. I think you were telling me that you sent me an article right here that says more than 3,000 Chinese people visit Cambodia every year. And you said also in Thailand has one of the largest hubs to Wuhan in the world, right?
Yeah, if you scroll down on that article, you'll see that we actually had 20,000 people enter from Wuhan. Because, there are direct flights from Wuhan to Bangkok, and then they travel throughout Thailand.
It says it right here. More than 20,000 Chinese nationals flew from Wuhan to Thailand. And then Singapore. Of course, Singapore, they took early active measures, and they, very, very proactive measures, and they were able to curb it. So your take on it is that the cultures that seem to be handling it pretty well are ones that don't hug each other. They don't have a lot of social contact with each other, in the form of hugs and kisses. Like Italians, they're kissing all over each other. And, Americans, we like to hug each other. So you mentioned some really, really interesting stats. So I'll let you explain it because I think you really, really have a really, really good perspective on on how to kind of prevent this and what we can do and how things are going to change in the future with our greetings and social greetings moving forward.
Yeah, so I've traveled to 47 countries. I'm from the United States. I grew up in an Italian family. I've lived in 4. I lived in Uruguay in South America. I lived all over the U.S. Then I moved to 2012. I moved to Manila in the Philippines, and then in 2016 in January I moved to Bangkok. Now I do come from an Italian family, and we're very, very affectionate. When we see each other, we shake hands, in America, we get at least one kiss. In Italy, they get 2, and I've been to Italy numerous times. And in addition to that, we hug, and this is the same throughout Europe, the same throughout South America, most of the places I've been. But there's a few other unique things about Asia when I first moved here. Number one is the greeting style. In Thailand, we put our hands together, which is actually, from my understanding, comes from India. And we bow and we just say Sawasdee Krap. We do it at a minimum of 3 feet away. It's not common to shake hands here. It's not common to hug. And usually you can give somebody respect in the greeting, when they're 6 feet away. It's just common to do that. But one of the other really unique things that I encountered when I started traveling to Asia, I would see people like in many countries, wherever I was, whether it was a mall or on a train system or even on an airplane, and they'd be wearing a mask, and I would ask my friends, why are they wearing masks? And they said, oh, it's common. They're obviously sick. When we have a cold or the flu and we have to go out in public, we always wear a mask. Now, at first, I thought that was strange, and I kind of questioned it, and now I don't. So that's one of the things that Asia does as well, is they're wearing masks before this started if they're actually sick. Then, then I was been really watching this whole situation as it's a concern of mine, as it is for everybody. And then I noticed that at first, obviously, it started in Wuhan. There are some scientists saying it started in like October, possibly November. Our high season in Bangkok is December and January up through the Chinese New Year. We had more people coming, my understanding, from anywhere in the world. More direct flights come from Wuhan to Thailand. Thailand is generally the number one visited tourist destination worldwide. So I believe it already came through here. And then when I had made this, we had 75 reported cases. Now it's at about 1,200. And there were some other measures that took place as well. We stopped flights, I believe, in the beginning of February from Wuhan and some other countries.
Hello. Hey, Gerard.
Day?
Somebody's calling.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm calling to ask your support for Donald J.
What the hell? Somebody added this to some RoboDial. All right, so thank you. Somebody called in for support. Sorry to interrupt. I thought it was an actual caller, but maybe somebody RoboDialed us. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we actually had a large influx of Chinese during the month of our high season, which is December, pretty much Christmas, through January. And the Chinese love coming here, and they spend a lot of time here. And I live in a hotel, and actually I have a lot of people from China that come. And there's usually a busload this time of the year, and even during those months. And my Muay Thai trainer was saying, there's a lot of people from China here, and the guys downstairs said from Wuhan as well. And I'm just like, whatever, dude, let's just keep training. And some of the other things we started doing, like even in the malls weeks ago, maybe a month ago, we started having hand sanitizer when you went to the mall, so we were washing our hands. Then within the last several weeks or longer, they were temperature checking in a lot of places as well. And then we did go on to a mandatory lockdown as well on the 17th and starting the 18th in the whole country. Restaurants, bars, malls, movie theaters, the National Sports Muay Thai, they shut down the gyms, the stadiums, they shut down the markets as well, and they're shut down through the end of March. So, and even before that, though, the malls were thinning out. It seemed that people were on their own starting to, I guess the term is social distance. People were just not going as much.
You saw that it didn't take the government to tell them to stay home. They kind of, culturally, had the respect for the culture and awareness that, that limiting this was everyone's job, the collective's job, and not just, the individual, mandate of freedom and the ability to go outside. That's more important to Americans, which I'm an American. I love my freedom. I love my liberty. That's what makes America and has made America great. But, the people are acting like it's a, fascist government takeover. This is something that the world really has never experienced before. And, we have to weigh out, do we want, what is more important? Liberty and freedom is very, very important. But at the same time, so is, looking out for the collective good. So it's kind of this interesting dynamic where we have Western cultures that are obviously very self-centered, ego-centered, and then the Eastern cultures that are much more collective-based and working and societal, working for the better good of the society. And I think those numbers and the coronavirus infections really, really reflect cultural difference and how each cultures are taking on the coronavirus. And then you have somewhere like the UK where they ignored it till the very, very last minute, and they're going to get rocked, absolutely rocked. Right,
well, I fortunately that Boris was even indicating that he was meeting people and shaking their hands that had corona, and unfortunately he got it. I mean, we're all in this together, and I don't have the silver bullet, but I can share what seems to be a major piece. And when I'm watching all the news outlets, and whenever they talk to Taiwan, which is they're fine, and other places, and we're not immune to it. We're still rising, just not at the rates of others. But at the end of the day, no one's bringing the point that I'm bringing. The term social distancing does not equal do not physically greet. That is a whole nother, I think it's naturally happening now, but I'm already seeing on Facebook people saying, oh, when this is over, don't worry, we'll be hugging, shaking, and kissing.
Yeah, oh yeah, I saw the memes like, the second this is over, I'm giving all my friends big sloppy hugs and kisses. Like that type of stuff. Yeah. It's like, well, first off, I think people are expecting this to end, within a few weeks. And I think this is going to be a major global cultural shift in how we, communicate with each other. And people are like, it's already like, I think a lot of people are assuming it's just going to go back to what it was before. And that all of a sudden people are going to want to hug and kiss on each other after this is through. I don't think people are going to want that when they see their grandmother die because they were foolishly going outside, going into crowds, and they were probably the ones that brought it back to one of their loved ones or friends or wherever. Or they themselves actually get rocked very badly by it because, up to 10% of the people that get coronavirus need to actually be on respirator just to survive. I mean, I'm seeing people as young as like their 20s and 30s on respirators, gasping for breath just to survive. So I think that, a lot of people are just assuming that when this is over, we're just going to go back to hugging, kissing, and being in the society where, it's very touchy-feely. I've never liked handshakes. For the past couple of years, I've adopted a fist bump, and that's been pretty socially acceptable. I don't like, because people have moist hands. You can feel it. People have clamps. Sometimes my hands get moist. And then you made a good point about cell phones. How much cell phones are
I don't want to talk about that. Let's stop on, what am I doing right now with my fist?
Oh, yeah.
I'm rubbing my nose.
Yeah, absolutely. Even with me, I have glasses, so I'm always like...
The fist bump doesn't work. And what do I do? What am I doing with my elbows right now?
Yep.
I'm wiping my nose. That doesn't work. You got to be at a distance. And the foot shake doesn't work because you're getting too close. I think, look, this virus will potentially sustain, but when it comes back or another one does, what are we going to do to continue to slow it? And how are your numbers going to reflect other countries in Southeast Asia? Now I want to talk about this next, is the cell phone. We literally have the dirtiest hands in all modern society of running water. Because, everyone's got this phone, and everybody we know gets on their phone, and they use it for surfing adult entertainment, romance, right? And then everybody also, when we're all guilty of when we're in the toilet, we're on our cell phones, everybody, right? Then let's say that all of you wash your hands, which not everyone washes their hands. Let's say you do. How many of you are washing your phone after you're watching romance?
Totally.
And then after you go to the bathroom. So even without this, you shouldn't be, because then that guy with the clean hands touches his phone, then he touches your face and shakes your hands. I mean, it is a problem. I mean, if you really think about it. So I think it's the cell phone plus the physical greeting that is excelling it in countries like that. I'm not a scientist, and I'm not trying to solve this. I'm not looking for any Nobel Prize. I'm just sharing what I see. Coming from a family, we basically, we hug, we kiss, and I love it. I think I don't. And then all of a sudden, I'm in a society where I'm not greeting. I'm greeting like this. And so what happened was, China was number one, then it was South Korea, then it was Iran, then it was Italy. And I'm like, why Italy? Because my background's in Italy. And I'm like, oh my God, the way I thought about it, how we greet, right? We are physically the most, and a lot of I looked at Iran. How do Iranians greet? They hug and it's common to kiss. South Koreans, it's common for men to shake hand, but they traditionally bow. So, but then all of a sudden, and then I said, and look at all the countries below that. You'll see when I wrote this, and this is not an I told you so. I don't want to be right. And I'm not right. I'm just sharing what I see. But then I said, look at Spain, physically touching and hugging. And all of a sudden, Spain jumped up. Italy jumped up. All the physical greeting countries jumped up. And again, I'm just sharing what I see. I'm not a scientist. I'm just somebody who's been to 47 countries, who's lived in, now in 4, and who came from the most romantic greeting system out there, the Italians, right? And then I'm now in a society that has a very respectful traditional bow system. I think people could, from a distance, shake like this. And I've kicked this up to some high-up people.
Go like this? I like the bow. I posted last week that after this, I'm adopting the konnichiwa, the Japanese greeting. Konnichiwa with a bow. It's very respectful. It's very easy. People get it, you know. I'm fine with the bow.
Yeah. The G20 needs to come up with something new, and it needs to be broadcasted. And everyone needs to practice it now while you're at home and doing this social distancing, because you're going to run back out. And it's hard to do it. I've been practicing this, and one of my good friends, Nigel Williams, came from Canada about 3 weeks ago, and I've been really strict with it here, and it's easier here because no one shakes hands. And he came to hug me and kiss me, and I hugged him, and I grabbed him, and I shook his hand.
Right. You want to. I mean, you don't want to be rude and say, look, I don't want to hug you because I think you're dirty. It implies saying, I think you're dirty and lesser of a person than me. And in some ways, it's dehumanizing. And so there's a social stigma for denying the hugging, the whatever, you know. But I think that you see, if the world community came together and said, we need to adopt a global standard greeting, I think people would understand it. I mean, I didn't even think of it until you brought it up, and now it's so obvious. It's so obvious. Yeah. I'm gonna play this clip of Donald Trump talking about handshake, because Donald Trump is a notorious germaphobe. But then people. He
is, and I saw something. I watch all the sources. I was on CNN, and there was an interview of him from 1999 where he talked about not liking to handshake. So he actually does not. But then after he was around the president from Brazil and other people that were positive, they asked him, "Why are you doing it?" And go ahead and play what he said.
Yeah, I'll play it right now. Let's see. It should be playing. Okay, what's going on here?
This is urgent for me right from the beginning. You know that because I closed up our country to China.
The technical difficulties? I'm not hearing it, Ronnie.
Because it almost becomes a habit.
You're not going to hear it, but it's playing out. It's a routing issue that we're taking care of. But
and you get at it.
Everybody else is hearing it?
Frankly, I was a non-handshaker for the most part. I never believed that shaking hands once you become a politician. And I notice it too. Political people walk up to me, they want to shake my hand. I said, well,
I'll put on the
just wait a minute. Just take it nice and easy, okay?
Just take it nice and easy. I love when he does that.
People come up
just
to
take
me,
it easy.
They shake hands, they put their hand out. It's sort of a natural reflex, and we're all getting out of it. All of us have that problem. Somebody comes up to you, they put their hand out, you probably tend to just shake it. And we're all getting out of that. Shaking hands is not a great thing to be doing right now, I agree. But people put their hand out. Sometimes I'll put the hand out. You don't think about it. People are thinking about it more and more. We have to think about it. It's important. Somebody said yesterday, I touched the microphone. I was touching it because we have different height people, and I'm trying to make it easy for them.
Yeah, so anyway, even Donald Trump, they got called out because, he's saying, you got a social distance, no more handshakes, and then he's shaking everyone's hand right at the conference. Right. And then he got called out, and he was just like, everyone's getting out of this habit. It's a thing that we're all going to have to learn to do.
We need to, and it's not just social distancing. That term can be confusing for some people, and also it doesn't encompass stop physically greeting, and there has not been a universal way to greet. And until that happens, when people go back out, it's just going to spread. Anything is going to spread faster. And again, don't forget about the cell phone. Everybody romances, and they're on the.
Yeah, self-romance. There's the self-romancing aspect of it. There's the number one and the number two, just going to the bathroom in general. Especially because people are sitting on the toilet. That's what they're doing. They're on their phones nowadays. Actually, it's probably interesting how much more of a disgusting mess we've become since cell phones have become.
Yeah.
I think it's exceedingly, because that alone. Like you said, because most people, I assume, wash their hands after going to the bathroom. So,
But do they wash their phone, Ronnie? But do they wash their phone?
No, I know, but we didn't have that problem until recently, until we've had the smartphones.
Correct.
I didn't even think of it. What's the solution? Yeah. I mean, I carry around a little hand sanitizer that goes on my keychain. So wherever I go, I always have my hand sanitizer. So what's the solution with you just carry around like wipes? Maybe somebody will come out with some like keychain cell phone wipe solution.
Well, I already have the solution. I'm not physically greeting. I haven't been
physically greeting. Right. That's
Ronnie, I love you, but if I'm running and seeing you now, you may just romance on your phone, or you went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I don't know what you did. I know what I did, And do I wash my phone every time I'm going to the bathroom? Honestly, no. So I'm now starting to do that because I thought about it, but I don't trust everybody else, so you're not going to get to shake my hand. Look, when you're with me alone, of course there's a lot of physical things going on, but I'm not doing it in public, and I haven't, and I think the world needs to adopt it. I know the world does. Look, this part of the world, they have, and they were doing other drastic measures, and again, I don't have all the answers, and I'm not telling anybody what to do. I don't really care what anybody, does personally, as long as you're not hurting women, children, or animals. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you just look at the logic of this, then maybe you'll stop doing it because you realize that someone just went to the bathroom since they're shaking your hand.
Even like if they did the test on all those McDonald's touchscreen food order things, and it's just covered in fecal matter. You're basically just touching shit. Like, and it's like extreme amounts of it too, like highly toxic, So I don't think if we actually had a visualization of the amount of germs and viruses and bacteria that was like all over our fucking world, and on the stuff we'd think twice. We'd have much better hygiene because if we could visualize it, then we know how pervasive it is and how it's spreading through this transmission, how easy it is to spread. But the problem is we don't see it. We don't see it. It's an invisible enemy. It's kind of scary. It's like a horror movie. It's like this monster you can't see. It wants to kill your family. It's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. So I'm getting a few namaste, Ross. Hello, Nicole. I don't know what you're talking about. Handshake job. I'm not sure what's going on there. Thank you, Maximilian. Yeah, no, I think it's a very, very good public service announcement to put out there. I have the WHO reports of the cases and deaths, and down here, where do I go by country? Okay, here it is by country.
You can just scroll down all the way, and then Thailand is pretty far down there. Yeah. South Korea. But if you look at most of those countries, they're all physically greeting that are at the top now.
Yeah, Thailand's way. I don't even see it yet. Where the hell is it? Cambodia's way down here.
145. We were at 75 when I made this. This came to my realization. Keep going up. It's at 1,000. See the total cases. Yeah, keep going. Keep going. It's actually up more, and the count is 1,245 total cases, which is the first number to the right of every country.
There it is.
We're at 3.
Okay. 1245, 109. I see it right here. You see it?
Yep.
6 total deaths. Wow. And they have...
No. Yeah, 6 deaths. Yeah, plus 1. Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
New deaths plus 1. Total recovery.
And remember, we had the most direct flights from Wuhan, China, anywhere in the world. I think New York was second, from what I'm understanding.
Let's look at the top countries. USA.
It's all physically...
1943. Italy's just getting fucking hammered. 10,000.
Yeah. That's what brought my attention.
I don't believe for a moment China only had 3,300 deaths. I think that they're vastly underrepresenting their numbers.
Right. But then you look at Spain and Italy, they're telling the truth. You've been to Spain, I'm sure. I've been to Spain. It's the same culture. We hug, we kiss.
Yeah.
And this is evidently airborne as well, but they are indicating touching is part of it. So, and if you're getting close and you're hugging and you're kissing, you're going to be even closer to people. I mean, France, all them. They're all. I mean, we're not immune to it. We do have some lower numbers. It seems like Wuhan's very dense, and obviously that means probably. I read that it did say that they bow. There's some handshaking in business, but I believe handshaking is more of a Western thing. And I'm just sharing what I see. You can call me crazy, or I don't know what I'm talking about, and where's the science and the math. I'm a simple person. I'm using logic.
So how is Thailand handling it? Are the streets empty? Like, at this point, what's going on with their prevention? Are people still going out to restaurants? Are you guys in lockdown?
So on the 18th, they closed down restaurants. I believe most are takeout only now. They closed all sporting events. They closed the outdoor markets. It was till April 12th. They extended it until the end of April. And who knows, they may extend it more. But most people I know, again, seem to be kind of taking it upon themselves. And they were wearing masks. Once this was indicated, I was seeing people wear masks everywhere. And then there was hand sanitizer in malls, getting on and off our train systems, at restaurants. And I remember a few weeks ago, last time I went out to a restaurant, they were temperature checking with the temperature guns.
Yeah, I have one of those temperature guns, and I've been joking around. I had my audio tech over here. Yeah, I'm not trying to have people over. That's not the point of quarantine. But I had to get my audio guy over here to fix something or get it set up. And I took his temperature.
Yeah.
I took his. I took it's one of those temperature guns. I took his temperature when I was half joking, but it's a bad idea for us to have these things, dude. Fucking
no, it's not. It's common. I mean, China's use them. When I go in my hotel, they know me here and they check me. I don't leave. I go once a week for my vegetables, and I go and like 1 a.m. at one of the 24-hour stores I can walk to, and it's dead. The streets are dead, and I mean, even in the day, it is. I mean, there's a lighter level of traffic. They made more flight restrictions. They made some weeks ago. They stopped Wuhan. Like they've been doing things very proactively. But I think it's also a combination of the things I talked about. Wearing face masks before this even started. I was very, very sick at the beginning of February, and I had it started with a crazy sore throat, ended up with congestion, flu-like symptoms. I don't know if I had it. No one was really testing then. And I was taking 500 Tylenols like 3 times a day, and I was like down for 2 weeks. But I just thought it was another common flu, and maybe it was. I don't know. I didn't get tested. I think it kind of came through here because of our large level of Chinese that come here as tourists. And then I think that because we don't physically greet, we greet at a distance. And if people are sick, they wear a mask anyways. And then, so I think, I'm not a scientist, but that's what I think contributed. And it's logical.
Yeah, so look at this. It says a quick history of why Asians wear surgical masks in public. This was published in 2014. So it says, and it's a phenomenon that's been common in East Asian countries, and ever since the 2002 SARS outbreak and the 2006 bird flu pandemic. You see, in America, I mean, a bunch of people died in America, more than died of coronavirus, but it just wasn't taken seriously. But I think in Asia, it seems like they took it much more seriously than we did. And let's see, this practice has crossed over to immigrant Asian populations in the U.S. Now with Ebola fears on high, many immigrant Asians aren't taking any chances, but despite the fact that the number of known U.S. Ebola infections has dropped to 0, and assertion by public health authorities is that Ebola is almost certainly not airborne transmissible. The reality is that woven cloth surgical masks provide minimal protection from environmental viruses anyway. Surgeons use them to protect patients from their mouth-borne germs, not the other way around. That began during the 20th century. The custom of face mask wearing in Japan started during the early 20th century with a massive pandemic influenza that killed 20 and 40 million people worldwide during World War I. Wow. There were outbreaks of the disease. So this they're talking about the Spanish flu essentially, but essentially they're saying Japan has been hip with it since then. A massive inferno. Okay, so they had an earthquake that's caused an inferno with smoke and ash, and the air quality suffered. And also probably just air quality in Asia. A lot of Asian countries probably just don't have the air quality. They feel like maybe wearing that filters some of the pollutions in the air.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing. One of my good Thai friends, I was chatting with her, and January, the pollution gets higher because they're burning the fields for the crops. And she's like, "Did you get your pollution mask?" I was like, "Yeah, I've been sort of wearing it." She's the one who brought it to my attention. And she said that, you need to wear it. I'm like, why? She goes, "You see what's going on in Wuhan?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm not really watching that." She's like, "Gerard, we have the most direct flights anywhere in the world from Wuhan. You need to wear it because of that." And that's when I started getting it. Started wearing it on the train, and I started taking the train. I stopped a while back. I usually take grab cars, and I even stopped taking those. I walk when I can, or I'll take a scooter. I feel maybe it's a level of safer. But I've been self-quarantining now since the 18th. I've stopped going out way less since like the beginning of March. When I say going to the malls and stuff like that, and I don't really go out that much anyways at night, but. Yeah, that's some interesting facts that you're reading there, and maybe that's another reason why they're more common to wear. The pollution. Yeah, and those other pandemics.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors here. It's the mask it's the cultural, kind of looking out for the culture collective versus the individual. There is, the greetings that we need to adjust to, and just general cleanliness. I think probably it's a big wake up call for just general hygiene and cleanliness. And how when's the last time you cleaned off the surface? Like for example, I was thinking about my car. Like the handle on my car. Like, when's the last time I cleaned that surface off? Never.
Right.
I'm not ever out there with, clean. I went out there and cleaned off all my handles and all my cars, handled the doorknob on my door, my bathroom doorknob, all the doorknobs,
right.
Things that, man, it's like, man, I should have been doing this before. Like and it started to make me grossed out. Like, wow, like, I have probably never consciously cleaned. I mean, other than like a car wash, consciously went to my door handle in my car and like gave it a thorough cleaning.
Yeah.
And I started to think about it, like, dude, that's fucking disgusting. Because then I'll grab a gas pump. Think about how nasty these fucking gas pumps are. These gas pumps are just fat, especially, I don't know, Thailand, how it works there. But here it's just, it's all self-serve. And
that's something interesting. Here in Thailand, actually, I got rid of cars and boats, and I don't like problems. I have nothing that's a problem anymore. I scaled down the size of my place, but I don't drive anymore. I'm driven like world leaders. I use Grab or get a car. But the point is there. It's like America here in the 70s. You pull up to the gas station, someone actually pumps it for you.
Wow,
that's something else.
That's what I was thinking next. Yeah, the self-service. The self-service may come back. I saw that there's some gas stations that are telling elderly people, if you need to fill up gas, put your hazards on and honk, and we'll come out and we'll do it for you, so you don't have to touch. And I think that's smart, because like I had to fill up gas the other day, and I was just like, man, this is such a hot spot for this. Is these gas pumps?
That's true. I didn't.
Yeah.
They do it now. Affirming what you're saying, I grew up and I was born in 1970, so we had gas attendants through most of the 70s, when I can remember. Then there was a point where it stopped and it became self-service. I think it's kind of when credit cards got a little bigger. And I know it costs, wages are higher and all that, but then there was time in America in the 80s, I remember it was an option. You could pay more and still get it pumped. Now it's gone. So you're right, that's another point of contact that's not here, because it's actually they provide that service still here. So maybe that has something to do with it as well. I mean, one other thing I want to talk about as well is, I grew up, my dad always had bidets in our house, right? So, and that's the porcelain device next to the toilet that has the faucet that shoots up, right? But then everywhere I've traveled in South America, here they had bidets or different, and then they also have, it looks like the thing you pull out of your sink.
Yeah, the bum guns. Yeah.
And I know there was this whole toilet paper thing. And I know a lot of my friends, I made a post about that. A lot of friends went out and bought those and installed them. And now Japan, theirs are like, the Cadillacs toilet seats where they have heaters and blowers. There's one called Toto.
There's some that are like $10,000 or even more. They get real pricey. Real pricey.
A brand called Toto, some of my friends bought. It's like $650, where it has an actual blower and a dryer as well, and the seat is heated. So there's, I know a lot of my friends have migrated to that because of this. And again, that was common throughout South America.
I've been hip to the bidet. I've been using it for about 3 years now, and absolutely life-changing. It really was an eye-opener for me, like, wow, this is fucking gross that I haven't been doing this before. It's gross that most Americans aren't using a bidet or a bum gun. And it's quite frankly, it's a really, really unhygienic thing to do. And I think that us as just, especially Americans, and myself, I'm not trying to throw stones. I'm definitely looking around at my hygiene. I'm like, it's been severely lacking. I'm not gross. You come to my place, you're not going to be grossed out. But, like I said, when's the last time I cleaned my car handle or my doorknobs or, all these little things that we don't think, or even my phone for that matter. Maybe I clean out the phone once a week, if that,
I mean, I would clean it, but not now. I'm using alcohol wipes and letting it dry and then cleaning it with a clean surface. But no, I was guilty of that. Hell, I mean, I was hugging and kissing my friend Nigel that just came here, but it just so happens, we're all in, school right now. We're all learning what to do, and some people are getting good grades during this, and some are failing. But the last epidemic was in 1918, the Spanish flu, and there wasn't as much ways of gathering information as we have now. So I think everybody is really going to be able to look back on this later and be more prepared. Totally. And I really hope that people also adopt a non-physical way of greeting. I'm not leaving Asia, so I'm in a part of the world that will continue to be that way. But again, I'm just sharing what I see, and it's completely logical.
How often should I clean my phone? The world is a giant petri dish, correct. Even if your smartphone is enveloped in an invisible aura of bacteria, it surely is. Most of those bacteria pose no threat to you. Yeah,
well, slow down though. Once you put the paragraph. Yeah. That's sure. Even the infamous fecal bacteria.
Yeah, I missed that part. The fecal bacteria.
A healthy person's poop. I mean, are they talking about romance on there? Probably not.
Yeah, they're not gonna. Yeah, they need to talk about the romance part. Endless food poisoning. Oh my god, dude, we're fucking disgusting creatures. Humans are gross, man.
We probably have most dirty hands, I feel, in modern society of running water. Which when we all started figuring out we needed to wash our hands.
Yeah, or the mouse. I'm using a mouse right now. When's the last time I cleaned off my mouse or my keyboard and disinfected it? After this, I'm going to disinfecting fucking binge. Everything in my house today is getting disinfected. The windows.
Right.
So many points of contact that I just take for granted.
Right. Well, I hope everyone gets through this, and it's unfortunately a big learning curve for all of us. And I already have 3 friends who have it. One of my good friends' died. I just found out someone else had it in New York, and he's older with underlying conditions, and the chances are he's probably not going to make it. One of my good internet friends from Australia, he posted on Facebook, and he's in Canada. He hasn't replied in 3 days from his hospital pick.
Oh my I don't
God.
know. Are you serious?
I mean, I've adopted and accepted the way of current life. Although I work from my home, I have been for 23 years. That part's quote unquote easy for me. But I'm already mentally preparing for friends who are going to get it, and I have 3. And one of my good friends died about 4 weeks ago, and from America, in better shape than me, my age, 49. Some of my friends were starting to think that maybe that's what he had, because all the symptoms of his death, he ended up dying from, pulmonary, he couldn't breathe in the end. And he was younger, didn't go to the hospital, and my understanding, he died. So I don't know if that's what he died from, if it was the common flu and he got pneumonia, but that's interesting. Someone else in my hometown that was 45, my friend told me died around the same time period. I can't confirm that was that, but at the end of the day, I'm preparing for...
you hear about this? Longtime Biden advisor posthumously tests positive for coronavirus. I think Biden got it. I think I would not be surprised if Biden gets coronavirus. So this just came out. A longtime advisor, Vice President Joe Biden, posthumously tested positive for the coronavirus after he died Sunday. I mean, they're starting to come out saying that a lot of the tests we haven't had the test. So a lot of the people that died from flu, they're testing now, posthumously, and they're testing positive for coronavirus.
Right. I think unfortunately there's been quite a bit of this probably already. I don't think any country's numbers are accurate. They could be, probably more. But the message here...
They're only testing people that they think have it.
Yeah. I think I got it. I'm not sure. I hope that I could survive it. And I don't have any kids, and if I'm not here, it doesn't really affect anybody. But at the end of the day, I'm worried about people with families and that are older with underlying conditions, and I hope that as few people die from this as possible. This is not the silver bullet; it's part of it. But at the end of the day, it's real, and if you don't think it is, you definitely need to take it more serious. One of my good friends in Florida said there's a lot of retirees that have driven down to Florida. He works for a major cable company, and their target market is people 60 plus, and they're in a lot of big retirement communities. And his guys out in the trucks all over the state are saying that there are retirees just casually gathering by the pool and kind of business as usual. I don't have facts on that. I didn't see it. I know younger kids were being a little more defiant, but you guys really got to take it serious because it is real, and it's a tragedy for all of us. And the more we all, I mean, I'm staying home. I've gone out to see one of my business partners a couple times, but that's it. And I'm staying home. And I've gone grocery shopping.
Yeah, that's another thing, the grocery shopping. That's such an area that people just think the grocery shops are going to be immune. I mean, I think that's going to be a big concentrated area. You know, people are grabbing the packaging, then you take it home. I saw some videos on how to disinfect your groceries, you know, because I stocked up for about 3 months worth of food a couple of weeks ago. But I'm realizing now people are flooding to the markets and they're all packed like sardines, you know, panic buying and facilitating the spread of the virus. And so there's so much to wrap around this of how like culture is going to change, how we look at hygiene is going to change, how we look at, you know, just the whole world. And, you know, being somebody in Las Vegas, I'm a little bit concerned because, you know, we're a city that's based its whole economy off of tourism and mass gatherings and, you know, the kind of the naivete that pandemics won't hit, you know, because, you know, how it's just, I don't know if Las Vegas will ever be the same after this. Especially if they're saying it's going to be months and months and months, even up to a year or more, where we're going to be essentially in a state of economic lockdown. Yeah,
it's going to be hard for everybody, and I don't wish hard times or problems on anybody, and I hope that what I'm sharing sheds some light for some people. I have no scientific proof of this. Take it for what it's worth, but if you listen to this and you're just joining, there's some pretty logical points and some observations that I've made that I think are important. In addition to, you know, every country is going to be better prepared for this in the future. And there's been scientists who've been talking about this for a while, but nobody, you know, we're learning, unfortunately, and there's a lot of positive things being done by a lot of governments and cities and states throughout the world, and everyone's trying, and we're all in this together. And I just hope that people stop physically greeting and kissing in the future. And I hope that the G20 comes up with something that's more universal. Because if people don't start understanding that, because again, the term social distancing does not say, you know, stop physically, you know, greeting, stop shaking and kissing. And I am already seeing friends on Facebook that are, like you have too, they're looking forward to kissing and hugging again. I mean, maybe people will. I just hope that I kicked it up with some pretty high people. Maybe assured me there'll be messages on it, but I'm not sure. Maybe someone else that's listening has got some higher people and can think of this as something interesting and share with it. I'm going to continue to swatty cop from a distance. It's just the environment I'm in, and I will not be, you know, greeting people that way in other parts of the world either. And I don't travel all that much. Well, I can't travel right now, anyways. The other thing is, you know, I hope everyone is realizing, you know, the life is short and you got to live it, and hope you've all done things you've wanted to do, and when you have more freedom, you do more of those things. I mean, I got rid of all like possessions a long time ago, you know, cars and boats, and I just don't really care about that. So I put all my money into travels and experiences and living. I always thought I would die at 30. I'm 49. I got 19 bonus years. Maybe I'll hit 50 this year, and I'll have 20. But it's a short journey, and if we all collectively work on this and stay home, that's the step one. And then step two is when you go back out. If you're in a physically greeting society, I really hope that changes for those societies in those countries.
Yeah, no, totally. And yeah, I totally agree with you. Somebody saying namaste, that's a good greeting. Konnichiwa. What is it you say? Swati what?
You could say hello. If you're in Italy, you can say ciao.
Ciao.
You can use
or just use this. Yeah, just this is kind of, people gotta get this.
Or even Japan puts their hands down and they bow. You can do whatever you want, but I think one needs to be defined, and you can't go back. Remember, this is what we do with our bumps, right? Now you're fist bumping. You touch your nose, elbows. I wipe my nose. That doesn't work. because there's still things there. You've got to be at a distance. You can say, "Hey, bro, what's up?" Or "Hola," or
yeah.
"Ciao."
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many.
This is a sign of respect. People get that. This is international now. People get this. Thank you.
Right, but some people may not. They don't believe in. They might think it's religion or whatever. I'm not really sure. I don't see that, but I know some people are like this, and that's okay. But you could still go like this, or you can go like this, or you can go like this, or what's up, or there's different ways, or hug. I mean, you could do something different. People have to change that as well. I mean, because I don't think air travel was a big piece of this as well, and it is airborne. So if you did exactly what Asia did, doesn't mean it's not going to spread. But I think it could have been reduced. I don't know. I really hope that. Some people take this and maybe they apply it. I don't know.
Yeah, time will tell. Well, listen, Gerard, thank you so much for being and talking to us and informing us.
Konnichiwa.
Have a good one, guys. Take care. Thank you, Gerard.